Hi everyone. So I hope you're all doing great. So welcome to BNext 2020 and thank you for being here today. So I'm quickly going to present myself and introduce this event. So my name is Fiona. I'm a student in events, and I will be the one hosting this event on behalf of the master students in events management, protocol and business tourism from the school Ostelea Madrid. So my classmate and I worked together to create a webinar that will be a way for us, future event managers, to connect and learn from other professionals who did the same master as us. And so all together, we decided to open this event to each person that could be interested in getting more knowledge about the event industry in a way that this person could participate and benefit from it. So we're very excited to be here with you today and to present to you our four speakers. So our first speakers, we first have Elise Vigano. You should have an image. So we will have Elise Vigano with us. She's an event manager at Press Tour, located in Madrid. Also, we have Veronika Stacy with us. She's a food detective country manager in Spain. Our third speaker is Clémence Larder. She's a MICE events manager at Frequent Flyer Travel, located in Paris. And to finish with Meritxell Castellón Priedo. She's an international event manager in Lideo. So each speaker will give a talk of 10 minutes, and we welcome everyone in the audience. Hi everyone. So we welcome everyone during those talks to ask questions in the private chat, and at the end during the Q&A session, we will ask them. So just so you know, in the private chat, you can find the link to a survey that will help us to see how this event went. So welcome, and let's start with our first speaker.
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm going to present myself first. So my name is Elise Vigano, and I've been also a student at Ostelea 3 years ago already. I'm from Belgium, and I decided to stay in Madrid and not going back to my country to start my career. So I decided to stay in Spain because Spain is a top MICE destination. It's the second most visited country in the world with 83 million visitors a year. And this country offers a lot of diversity between its city. The culture is amazing, and also the weather a good part of the year. So that's why a lot of companies love and want to do their event in Spain. So for me, it was the perfect place to start. So I started 3 years ago in Press Tour. So Press Tour is a travel and event company based in Madrid. They opened 23 years ago. So the company is divided in different departments, and I started in the DMC, where I'm still. So DMC is Destination Management Company. So what we do basically, we're doing events inside our country, so Spain in my case, because we are local experts and we have a good relationship with provider. So we can be a great help for event organizer or companies who doesn't know Spain or doesn't speak any Spanish. So we offer all the logistics services that an event needs, and we do nice event for international clients. So it can be a seminar, product launches, congresses, incentive for small and big group. So now I'm going to explain you how I personally started in the sector. So I was a student of Ostelea 3 years ago, and one of my teachers was Ángeles Moreno, and she was part of MPI. So MPI is Meeting Professional International. It's an association which will group all the event professionals of the sector. So me, I wanted to work there as an intern, and she accepted me, she took me. So basically I was helping to organize the meeting between the members. So for me, it was a great way to know better the biggest Spanish event companies, to work more with them, to see a bit closer how they work. Because at the end, I was working directly with the professional, the manager of those companies. And as my company, Press Tour, was a member of MPI, I met them there and they offered me to start as a project executive in the DMC. So this was my personal experience. But for the tips, for you that you are starting now for your first job in this sector, I would say that it's very important to know all the possibilities that you have in the market in order for you to know better what you would like to do and where you would like to apply, for which type of event you want to work for which company, because there are a lot of sorts. You can work in events in hotels, in event agency, incentive travel agency, for DMC, in convention center, wedding planner, even for music or festival. You can even work for a particular venue or also within a corporate company. For example, Google, Amazon, L'Oreal, they have their own event team inside the company. So I think it's important to know which possibilities you have in the market, even if it's not necessary to get specialized too early, because you will learn a lot working for different type of events. And then I would say, of course, make your CV up to date. And if you haven't started yet, I would say work on your LinkedIn profile and grow your network. About 85% of recruiters check candidates on LinkedIn. So it's very important to have it done. You can build your own brand on LinkedIn. You can maintain your contact, search easily about companies and its employee. You can also check event industry. So you can also on LinkedIn activate an option who shows that you're actively looking for job opportunities, which can be very interesting for recruiter to find you. So that's the tips. And of course, as I did, I think that start with an internship is also a good idea, because then you have more chance to stay in the company afterwards. You can meet people, do contact, and have a bit of experience. Yes?
And so how was it for you at the beginning when you started working in the event industry? What was your first experience?
Well, my first experience when I started, I directly start with the French market, because as I speak French, I was more in charge of the French group. So they give me the smaller group. I was doing from 20 to 50 people event. And at the beginning, there were always someone with me to help me, to show me how to do it, because I had really no experience. I did only the Master in Ostelea, but not experience on site. Yeah. And then they started to give me the opportunities to do my event myself, and it was really great. It's a bit scary maybe at the beginning, but then after it's amazing if you really like this sector.
Great.
Yes.
And what is for you the difference between the event market in Spain and in France?
Actually, I never worked in France, so I did my 3 years of experience here in Spain. Okay. So I don't really know the big difference, to be honest. But what can I say is that you can see, because I'm working with different type of nationalities, and you can see very the difference between an American client, French client, or Asian client, for example. It's true that they are different. I'm more specialized in the French one, so I know basically what they like. For example, French people love gastronomy, so you know that you need to offer them very good restaurants. Yeah. For example. So yeah. Okay.
Madrid has a lot to offer. So what is your favorite thing about the city? How the city is helping you with your work?
Madrid is amazing. I mean, I'm offering all Spain, but it's true that Madrid is particularly interesting because there is so many things to offer. I mean, restaurants, venue, hotels, provider, they are opening every day. So it's very important for us to know very well hub provider, because this is how we will give the best and the most personalized service to our client. But which is great with Madrid, it's very trendy. Like you have new things every day.
Yeah.
So that's not, you can really change your, it's not always the same. You know, it's a very dynamic city.
Okay, great. We have a question for you in the private chat. You were talking about the fact that your clients are international. So who are the most challenging clients, or what are the most challenging things they're asking you to do in your work?
Well, to give you a real example, if you want, I have a client which is very challenging. I did an event for them last October. It's Google. So they're based in Dublin. It's Google from Dublin, and it's a company with a very, very high level of expectation. Okay. So we did an event back to back. It means that every day you have a new group of people, and every day, you know, it changed. Like every day you have new activities, and so it was really, really challenging in this way. And you have no other choice than doing it perfectly with a perfect logistic, and the clients needs to leave more than satisfied. So it's a lot of stress, and but it's very rewarding at the end, because they congratulate you for this event, and you feel like very great about it. So that's why also I always say that the event sector, it's very rewarding, because you're able to see the final result of all these hours of work.
Okay. I have another question for you. Many students from Ostelea, as you know, are international students, and they're asking if you were already fluent in Spanish when you started working, doing your internship.
So a bit. I was not talking Spanish as now, of course, but before Ostelea, I studied Vatel. It's a hospitality management school in Brussels. And during my bachelor, I had to go 6 months in Panama for an internship. So I learned my Spanish there. So I already had 6 months that I learned Spanish. So I had, let's say, a basic level.
Okay.
But I was not bilingual, and I was not speaking like now. No.
Okay. And how is your team and you facing the situation, the coronavirus pandemic right now, and how are you trying to adapt your offer?
Yeah, so it's true that now it's a terrible situation here. There are, I think, like more or less 7,000 travel and event agencies in Spain, all affected by the coronavirus. So I would say that DMCs are more affected than others because of the closure of the border. So it means that your client cannot come in, no? And also the lack of economic resources from company. Maybe this year they will not be able to afford the luxury of organizing an event outside its country, so it's Spain. So we have a representative of all the Spanish DMC. It's called Spain DMC. If you want to check on Google, they have a website, and they have established some measure. It haven't been approved yet by the government, but they have established some measure in order to help us. So, for example, extend the temporary workforce until the end of the year, or giving the possibility to our international client to do an event in Spain without paying any tax. So this is some of the example. But it's true that we have new alternative. Now we start with virtual event. So you have like webinar, but you have also virtual conference who can have more than 1,000 of attendees with a session. You can interact with others, and you can even add food to your virtual conference, because now catering companies launched this new service of the delivery of food. So if you want to deliver a coffee break to all your attendees, you can do it. They really try to make it as real as possible.
Amazing. Thank you, Elise, for sharing your experience and tips with us. We're going to get back to you at the end.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So now let's welcome our second speaker, Veronika Stacy. So Veronika is a food detective country manager for a new brand coming out soon. And she has already 4 years of experience in the event industry. So she will talk more about that.
Yes, thank you so much, Fiona, for having me
Hi, Veronika.
today. Hi.
My pleasure.
Being an alumni of Ostelea, it is great to be part of this community and to be able to share, knowledge and network. Today, I have prepared a presentation, which I would like to share with you. And it includes tips for finding a job within the events industry at this moment, which can be hard because of the current situation we are facing. So I want to start telling you a little bit about my career. So my professional career started back in 2013 when I went to plan weddings in Thailand. And at that time, I thought that the coolest tool in events was my red walkie-talkie that you can see, on my lap on the first day of events. Clearly, that has changed a lot from today. And I have grown as well professionally. So I will just explain my career in a very short time. And then I would really want to give tips on how to become competitive in the events industry. So I went from wedding planning to an agency, a design agency, in which they wanted me to organize the 25th anniversary for their offices. And it was very interesting because they have offices in 3 different countries, and we had to, program the whole logistics to host an event. I then worked in a tourism agency, Advantage Travel, as a communicator and event coordinator. That time as well, it was 2016. There tragedies occur in the world, right? So I was working in Ecuador, and there was the earthquake. Because of the earthquake, lots of hotels had to rebuild, and Advantage Travel, which is the owner of a hotel brand, asked me to plan a familiarization trip for press and media to be able to visit the new location and talk about the event later. So it was a lot of media work at that point. Then I came to do my master's in Ostelea in Madrid, and I had the opportunity to work in MPI as well as an account executive, where I helped organize training events for professionals. I don't know if you've seen in class, but there's also Event Canvas, for example, which is a training specific for event professionals and which can really help us to network. Finally, and probably the most important experience or that has impacted me professionally has been working at MyTurek, which is a PCO, a professional congress organizer. There we organized lots of different congresses. And what's interesting about this is that every day is different because each congress has a different topic, be it scientific, medical, fast-moving consumer goods, beauty, etc. So you really learn how to build and, as we say now, create an event, design an event, but at the same time, you learn so much about other industries. Today in my current challenge is in Food Detective as a country manager for Spain. And although at first, this business is not specifically an events agency or related to events, at the end of the presentation, I hope you all understand why it is somehow related and how events is very important in any marketing department of a company or an agency. So I want to talk a little bit about the event industry hiring trends. Currently, from a survey that was for like 2,000 event managers, they were talking about marketing and communications being one of the skills that is most sought after in applicants, especially in event roles, followed by event design and production, so knowing about audiovisuals, commercial and sponsorship, because we need to know how to sell an event and, of course, obtain funds for the event, and others such as logistics. I want to focus on this because now that students are graduating from the master and they need to look for positions, these are valuable, abilities that we gain in these departments that we can then showcase to have more opportunities of gaining the job. Also, the events that are most in demand now are education and training events, common cause events, which is usually a community subject that is a hot topic and that people want to organize an event about. Corporate events, which are always strong because companies tend to do this as part of their marketing and training. One of the biggest ones is, of course, medical conferences and congresses. And there are also profit-generating events, which are those in which tickets are sold, for example. And why is it important to know what type of events are in demand? Because you have to look for agencies or companies that organize these events. As you can see, social events are not very demanded right now this is obvious because people can't, come together in large groups. So at the moment, the smart move would be to look for jobs in companies that organize these type of events. So what are the challenges currently in the event industry? As we all know, I'm sure we've all been told, I've laughed about this, and you think, so you're telling me I have to get experience before I get experience, because lots of jobs ask for experience. Yes, that is what they will ask for, and we have to find ways to make our CV attractive and to seem like we have enough experience to obtain the job. We have to think that on the other side, there is a recruiter which has like 2,000 browser tabs open of all the different candidates. So currently, there are 4 challenges in the workforce in the event industry. The first one is our economic situation, and this is globally, and this has caused high unemployment. Therefore, my recommendation is focus on income, not on salary. I know that salary is important for many people, but at this point, we have to really focus on having an income and finding a job that helps you grow. I am not saying find a job that you don't enjoy or don't like, but really find one which in the future can help you grow or get to a position that you want to be. It is also very competitive in the job requisites. They will ask for lots of years, and right now there are so many qualified applicants that it is hard to compete. So highlight in your interviews, in your CV, and your personal branding, what sets you apart. Right now, it would be recommendable, for example, event tech, to know about 3D mapping, about apps, about virtual reality, because this can really help you stand out. The industry situation is also uncertain. As we heard Elise say, people can't come into the border. There's so many regulations. There's low confidence in attendees, and we don't know when events are going to begin again. So my recommendation here is follow event agency profile, because jobs tend to be posted on their profile themselves, be it on LinkedIn or their social media, rather than, info jobs or the section in LinkedIn for jobs, because these agencies tend to have more like an underground hiring process. Finally, and what happened to me and to many of my colleagues during the master was that you're not sure what type of events you want to organize. Maybe you like plenty. I personally like destination weddings and MICE, which are very different. So how do you do this? Take internships, take temporary jobs, volunteer, discover what your niche really is, to be able to take that personal decision and make it become an opportunity for you. So I'm going to give just 3 pieces of advice, which are the main ones that I would give everybody. Networking, right? That's the first one. It's probably the most important. It's what we're doing here today. Why is it important to network? Because out of the 6, 7 jobs that you saw I had, 4 I got through networking. So that's why I said, yes, that contact told me about the job opening. If I did not know that person who could refer me to another person, I probably would have never known that this job existed, right? And this is what you call the hidden job market, because it's not usually available to everybody on a platform. So here are, within networking, what is my advice? Never miss out. As Woody Allen said, 80% of being successful is simply showing up. So show up, attend events. When you're around a table with friends, with people you don't know, talk. And if the topic comes up about jobs, make sure you also have something to talk about, know about trends, for example, so that you can be on top of your game. Now, networking is also very much web-based. Everything you can do on social media, and of course, LinkedIn. LinkedIn should be your new best friend. You should share, you should comment, you should like, you should talk about what you're doing, you should put keywords in your profile, because this is how you're going to stand out, because recruiters will look for you based on keywords and your interaction. Also, keep in touch. It's not about, hey, I met this person, cool. Keep in touch. You see an article that might interest them, send it to them. Be on the top of mind, because with the amount of competition there is at the moment, that is what we can do to really have better opportunity. A new trend that is coming around is influencer following, I, for example, follow Preston Bailey. He is a, influencer wedding planner. And I won't necessarily get the opportunity to network with him, but I will be able to see who follows him and network with those people who have similar interests and be able to connect with them. Always be open to new opportunities and join groups, join associations, join whatever helps you network. The second suggestion is personal branding. So own your brand, right? For example, there are 5 main things or characteristics that event planners look for, event managers look for when hiring. And these are the 5: organization, people, skills, time management, work ethic. Try to put the ones that apply to you in your elevator pitch. And this will really help you create your own personal brand and be attractive to recruiters. But also, you have to provide online presence and value. You can showcase yourself as someone who fights for a common cause, but what I'm saying is be real, because as we all know, the thief goes down before, the liar goes down before the thief. So you must make sure that it's true, otherwise you're going to totally ruin your personal brand by fighting for something that you don't truly believe in. And finally, strive to be an expert in something. It doesn't have to be in everything. It doesn't have to be, I'm an expert in mice, but I'm an expert in, decoration styles. I'm an expert in event tech, etc. And really highlight this in your own personal brand. The third advice would be build a portfolio. I don't know how many times I've been asked during an interview, do you have your own client or supplier book? Can you work with that when you're in the position? And the answer many times has been no, I didn't. And I've moved around so much that I wasn't able to create one. So even if you have some free time and you can use it to really create a supplier book, look at the businesses that are around you and have this at hand for presenting to your interviewers. Another one would be identify your roles. So if you work, for example, in a tourism agency and you're creating tourism programs, but now you want to get into events, if you had some kind of event within your tourism program, you can say that you helped organize or integrate an event within a program, that you're interested in cultural events, and that's why you're putting it within a program. Try to really find a way to talk about events, even if it's not a direct path and clearly there. Adapt your CV and cover letter, because every company is looking for something different, so tweak it. You can have a general one and then just tweak it, and this always helps. And the others I'm sure you all know about, so I'm not going to go into that. But I wanted to write down a phrase from an agency director from the Turner agency. And he said, when we recruit event managers, it is key to us they have experience in other sectors. So not because you are an expert in design doesn't mean you won't have an opportunity in the events industry. So the hospitality industry as a whole, what's great about it is that it is an umbrella. And we've seen previously that hotel managers would be event organizers before the career of event management existed. Why is this? Because it's all transferable skills, right? So you can take all the people skills, all the organization skills, all the work under pressure skills, and really it helps you throughout all these industries that are within the hospitality industry, which we can see under the umbrella. So my suggestion is, if you can't find a direct job in event management, go to one of these other sectors, which will provide you with knowledge that will then impulse your event planning career. This is how I came to Food Detective, right? So Food Detective is not an event planning company. It is a food tech company. We sell software as a service for food and beverage establishments. But we do have a lot of events that are happening within the company, in which I'm planning as a country manager in order to launch our product and to boost our brand. So I am planning right now the 2020 brand launch of Food Detective in Spain, together with a France and UK country manager. And in order to grow our brand, we will, for example, have influencer events, foodie events. And in the future, we will participate in gastronomical fairs, which all has to be organized by Food Detective as well. So here, just an example of where else can you look for a job and places I have previously looked at. Some examples are Disney, you know, amusement park. They always look for event managers. In stadiums or teams, I have a friend who works in Barcelona, Barcelona Sporting Club, as an event manager. There are non-for-profit organizations if you like that side of things. For example, there's Adopt a Grandparent here in Madrid, which was recently, a few weeks ago, looking for event organizers. And there are large brands such as Red Bull, which create their own events in-house and which may be interested in hiring event organizers. So finally, I wanted to wish everybody as well a bit of luck, because we also need that. Sometimes it's unfair, sometimes the process is already predetermined who's going to be selected. So a bit of luck is always helpful. And in a CareerCast survey for the 6th consecutive year, it was shown that event management is in the top 10 most stressful professions that there is, right? So what could possibly be more stressful than finding a job during COVID? A few things. But I wanted to tell everybody also that, you know, your success, don't compare it to anybody else's, because we all go at our own pace and have our own path. So that's what I wanted to share with you today.
Thank you very much, Veronika. Thank you. We will come back to you at the end with some questions that we have for you.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to go and hear from our third speaker, Clémence Lardeur. So Clémence, she's an event manager at Frequent Flyer, travel located in Paris, and she's going to talk a little bit about this experience and also our previous experience in Bogota.
Yes. Hi everyone.
Hi.
So yes, I'm basically going to introduce myself. So I'm actually working as an event manager in the company called Frequent Flyer Travel Paris. But before starting anything, I just want to congratulate every student over the particular circumstances of finishing your studies in this particular situation with the COVID-19, sorry. It might not be the easiest way to finish your student career, but I think it's a great challenge and a lot of positive is going to emerge from this experience. So I get that everyone here had an interview for integrating a university or an internship or a student job. So you all know basically how it happens, but I'm going to tell you how it happened for me. When you are having a job interview, the question human resources may 100% ask you is why you and not another candidate. So my personal answer was that I had experience in different sectors of the tourism industry in France, Europe, and South America. So I've been doing internships in Museo del Ballet Flamenco Cristina Hoyos in Seville, into a leisure structure called Cité de l'Océan in Biarritz, in the Basque Country of France, in a hotel chain called Parador Naturia de Mojácar in Spain, and into a DMC agency in Colombia, Bogota, called Tucaya Travel. These different structures are considered, as Veronika said, as key providers for the MICE industry. They each have a different way of working and a different organization. So over all these experiences, I tried to build, a solid base regarding my knowledge about the MICE industry. About my career, I started my studies with a 2-year diploma in a hospitality and tourism school, and it granted me basically a technical and solid background of the tourism industry. I started to specialize myself with a Bachelor of Events and Tourism and Business Tourism. And I was also doing a double diploma in English called Diploma of Economics, Social Tourism and Hospitality. This year, I discovered in a more concrete way, I would say, my sector. I was organizing concrete projects, organizing, for example, team building for real companies, answering to incentive requests for laboratory film, for example. And yeah, this year, the conclusion of this year was that I knew how to be an event organizer in the MICE industry in France. After it, I specialized during the same master as you at Ostelea, and I'm not going to waste time explaining what you're actually doing, but I just want to highlight a major part for me. I think that the fact that our promotion was international, it has been an amazing experience to me. Thanks to it, I've been finishing my studies with internship I did in Colombia, in Bogota, in a DMC agency in the MICE department. So there I discovered another side again of the MICE sector, a new country, how to work with international providers, which is completely different to work with French providers, for example. With international customers, I was working over communication, over decoration. I was multitasking, but everything within the MICE service. And when I was in Colombia, I also started to be involved in a Colombian foundation called Proyecto Union. So the aim of this foundation is to provide free healthcare to abandoned children and homeless people that are suffering from very severe injuries that hospital cannot basically help. I think that our generation is being very preoccupied by the impact they can have over the society, which was my case. So I was more than happy to integrate the Friends of Angels Association. It's an association that has been created to collect funds for Proyecto Union at an international scale. So over my free time, I've been nominated to the direction board of Friends of Angels France, and I'm basically working a lot over my free time. So I'm working from administrative tasks to partnership with international foundations, communication over social networks, digital marketing. I'm actually creating a website. And I was also organizing some events for the foundation, and I'm also managing a team of 3 persons for more than a year, I think so. So our main goal is to bring funds, and this way I'm seeing a concrete way to see I'm seeing the concrete way of having an impact over the foundation and the society. I think that a lot of Europeans might listen to me right now. To give you an example, with €1, it's 4,400 Colombian pesos. And for almost €3, you can offer 3 meals a day during 1 week to one homeless person. So for you, it can seem like very little, but you can have a bigger impact in other countries. And so being involved into this caritative cause, as this one, is very motivating and stimulating, making me very happy. And so I'm also learning a lot over social entrepreneurship, and I'm not going to deny it. I think it's also an element of my professional profile that helped me to be a different candidate. So some things I might tell you that while finishing my internship, what helped me to be where I am today, it was like the other person said before, communicating a lot over my LinkedIn profile. And this way I've been contacted by a hiring recruitment agency just 3 days after I came back from Colombia, and they asked me to come to Paris to integrate the actual company. So my actual company is a business travel agency with a MICE department, and we are organizing events in France and all over the world. So I'm still in this company and very happy with my position since February 2019. And we are actually living a particular situation with the coronavirus crisis. So basically, for my case and in Paris, all the events have been postponed or canceled. Honestly, I don't have a lot to tell you regarding how we are managing the crisis, because in France we are at partial unemployment, and because I think personally that the industry of events and MICE events is not going to start again before September. So we are trying to maintain the bonds with the providers and customers, but basically everything is regarding financial issues, because some events involved deposits or total cancellation or postponed to the following year. So it's kind of a lawyer job, checking every cancellation policy. So this is why, as an event manager, you have to take care of every little details. So I'm going to end with 2 tips. The first tip is that you are the best seller of your profile, of your skills, and you have to offer you some visibility, open your network, as the other one said before, and you will have amazing opportunities. For example, thanks to that, over my communication over my LinkedIn profile, I've been contacted by a consulting agency from Germany for a local company specialized in mass venues, wants to integrate the French market, and they contacted me because they saw my LinkedIn profile and thought that I could be a valuable opinion. And the last tip, I think, is that you have to turn every experience into positive. Either they are good or bad. The positivity and motivation, I think, were 2 of the criteria that decided the human resources of my company to hire me. So yeah, turning every experience into a positive and unique will help you to differentiate yourself of the other candidates. And that's it.
Thank you, Clémence, for your very motivating tips. I have some questions. So you said we have to be different from other candidates, and you are doing many things. So what are for you the most important skills we need in events? And what are the most needed skills too?
I think it's to be multitask. Literally, that right now they don't expect from you to be just an event manager. They expect for you to have digital skills, to have communication skills, to have customer relationship skills. Yeah, it's asking a lot of skills. So I think you have to be multitask. It's not because you've done a master specialized in events that you are going to be a good event manager. It's because you did, I don't know, you did a student job giving the daily newspaper over the morning before going to the university, that it's going to make you different. Every experience you had, either they were related to the my sector, is going to make you different.
Okay, thank you. And what about, so you're working in Paris. Can you tell us more about, I know you're planning events all around the world. And what about the market, the event market in Paris, how it is?
Oh, well, with my company, we have some contracts with important firms, which I'm not allowed to tell about. But to give you some examples, it's like public transportation or Paris airports, or like very important firms. And over my job, I'm actually realizing more events in France and in Paris. It's, for example, 1-day seminary or 3 days incentive trip in a destination in France, because all the companies do not have all the budget to realize incentive trips all around the world. For what they are actually expecting from us is to see something different. Because as Elise said before, French people are very into food a lot. So they do not want to go to a typical brasserie in Paris. They want a different restaurant. They want to live experience. It's basically all about experience. And for us as an event manager, every time we are trying to contact providers, it's not like a simple hotel. We want an hotel different from the other one, and with an experience.
Okay, thank you, Clémence. So we will get back to you at the end, and we will go to our last speaker. So please welcome Marichel Castellan Prieto. So Marichel, she has 9 years of experience in the event industry, and she's currently an international event manager for the company Vídeo. So hi, Marichel. How are you doing? She's gonna come.
Now. Yes. Okay.
Hi, Marichel.
Hi,
how are you doing?
I'm
fine,
good.
thank you. So tell us more about your experience and your background.
Well, I started doing events in approximately 2010. Really, as I moved to New York, and over there I started doing different tastings and different for a company specific. The name was Uno Models. It was a modeling agency. And then I decided to move forward to more specific events, bigger events, such as the PGA tournament, such as the US Open or Comic-Con. And then I decided I was given an opportunity to actually open up an agency with a friend of mine in New York. So we decided to open agency over there with basically we were allowed to promote different products for different brands, mainly liquors and wines, etc. But unfortunately, I had to come here back to Spain. So I couldn't keep up with the agency anymore. So I came here. So when I was here, I decided that I had a lot of experience when it came to the to the events, but working in the events. But I didn't have the experience organizing the event, and that's what I really liked, and that's how I decided to enter the masters. And as soon as I started the masters, I decided to start applying for different jobs. And that's how they called me at the job that I'm currently working at as an international event manager for Vídeo, which basically what we do is we do 3-day private events for car dealerships. And basically the people that attend those events are able to have different discounts throughout those 3 days. Now, what I'm in charge with is organizing the whole decoration of the event, the whole the people that are actually going to be working in the event, because we have to have different brand ambassadors in the event in order to keep track of all the people that come in. And let me tell you that it wasn't easy at all to start in the company, mainly because it's a company that it has grown tremendously in a short period of time. Like 2 years ago, they were only doing 5 events per month, and now we're currently doing approximately 100 events per month, more or less. Even in a week, we have to plan 77 events. But I could say that I absolutely love my job, and it requires a lot of hours. Therefore, like I would say one of the biggest advices I would give anybody that wants to get into the whole event industry is just believe in yourself. And when you go to the interview, you can have all the background that you want, you can have all the studies that you want, but at the end of the day is how you portray yourself during the interview, how you talk about yourself, how you sell yourself, basically. I remember when I was doing the interview, I remember that I first had an interview with one of the bosses, and then the second boss came in. I didn't know it was the boss, so it was I didn't even stand up. I didn't shake the hand because I was nervous, because at the end of the day, I was going to the interview of my life, because the way they explained the job, the job requirements and what entailed the job, it was, oh my God, this is what I want to do. So it's a funny story, because I thought he didn't like me at all. I left the interview, and I was like, no, I didn't get the job. But thankfully they called me afterwards, and it's been a roller coaster. And every week is something different, even though we plan the same events, like the format of the event is the same, but it's you deal with different people at every week, because you deal with a different car dealership every week. Either we do Spain, or we also do Portugal and Italy. And it was a good thing, my experience in the United States, because I believe the United States is a pioneer in when we talk about events, basically, because they are the #1 sellers. They know how to sell anything, and they know how to create a show, and they know, and my experience over there, I think it gave me a lot of it helped me a lot in order for me to be able to do what I'm doing nowadays. And as one of my colleagues said also, I would say that another advice I would give is that to know where you want to work, because sometimes you think that you might like some type of events, but then at the end of the day you end up doing it and then you don't like it. So I would say try a lot of things, and once you have tried them, once you know what you like, just put all your energy in it, because if you want it, you know you can get it. And as someone also said, there's nothing more rewarding as having your client and call you and tell you thank you so much, and or I have this problem, how can I solve it, and solving the problem for the client. And that's one of the main things about that I really like about this job, the ability to actually be able to solve the problems for your clients, and to be prepared for any inconvenience and any unexpected thing that can happen. Be ready to solve it. That's what I most like about, like one time, they call you, the girl that was supposed to show up at the event did not show up. Now you have to run and you have to look for someone. So it's fun. It's a lot of time, it's a lot of work, but it's really fun. That's why I love it.
And how do you do, because you're planning, like, as you say, like hundreds of events per month or sometimes per week, how do you do to always satisfy your clients?
It's not easy, but I have to know exactly what they want and take their demands. Every demand is different. You cannot they might talk about the same, it might be the same problem, but you have to attend every demand in particular and make sure that at the end of the day you follow up with that demand and make sure that you know exactly what you have to solve to them, and then afterwards follow up, like a simple call. Hey, were you able to solve this? Was everything okay? They truly appreciate that. Is one of the things that I would say also. The follow up with any kind of problem that you encounter. Just call them, let them know that you're there for them, because they have to know that they are your client. You're there for them.
Yeah, having a great customer services is always really important. And what about the US market? Can you you said it was, you think they're like quite the first in the industry. Can you tell us more about it? How was the difference for you between the US and the Spanish market?
I would say the big difference is the customer service, is how you treat your clients. In the US, they're very customer service oriented. They you know what they say, the customer is always right. They really try to follow that to the T. Whereas in here, they're implementing a lot, is starting to implement a lot this type of things, this type of philosophy, but they're still working on it. So I would say one of the biggest things, the difference would be the customer service. And also the whole show, like in the US, they're huge about making huge things. Like I had the opportunity to be at the Super Bowl this year in Miami, and the fans they created, it was amazing. And I haven't seen such a thing. I've seen something similar here, but it wasn't as crazy as they do it in the US. So that's why for me, having an experience in the US has really helped me a lot, and it gives you a different vision also.
Of course. And for you, what should be the first thing we should pick from the US market, from the US event industry?
Wow, that's a hard question.
Or any trends in the world. There are many, sustainability, for example, it's quite a new trend. Should we start focusing a little bit more in that, or what should we integrate more?
I would say the getting away from so I'm more of a person that tends to be more personal when it comes to treating my clients. I don't deal with I'm not very formal, you could say. I mean, you have to be formal sometimes, But it is true that the U.S. market, it tends to be more personal and more one-on-one. You know. So I would say that's one of the things, because it does help you. Like when you separate from when you create that barrier with your client, it's harder for you to actually satisfy the client. In my opinion, though.
Yes, of course.
In my opinion. So yeah, that's one of the main things I would say. To know, to be more personal to your clients, as it is in the US. Over here, a lot of protocols and I don't like a lot that type of protocols and all that, you know, because every client is different. And that's why you have to know how to treat your client. And of course, there are clients that they're gonna want you to be more strict or more educated, etc. But in the basis, try to be more personal. Try to know 100% what their needs are.
Okay, thank you, Mary-Chelle. Now
you.
we're going to start the Q&A session, and I will be able to ask all the questions the public has for you. So just so remember for the attendees, on the private chat, you will find a link to the survey we made with my classmate. So please check this out if you have the time. So now welcome also Elise Vigano, Clémence, and Larder, and Veronika Stacy. Hey girls, thank you very much for taking the time to participate and for all the tips you shared with us. So we have many questions for you. So you all gave us some advices about how it is important to build a network, to have a great LinkedIn, to be different. What is for you? What are the new trends we should follow to be relevant and different from others? Veronika, if you have.
You mean trends regarding in the industry?
Yes.
In the industry? Okay, so at the moment, because of everything that's been happening, and it probably will be for the next few months, to have knowledge and to be able to comment and give your opinion about, for example, hybrid events, I think it's important. I think it's important to include as well, technology and sustainability have been topics that for the past 3 years up until now are probably things that you should read about and know about when you want to, you know, build a network with other people, which are hot topics.
Yes, and personally, when I think that people have to understand also that when you have a sustainable impact, it's not just regarding the environment, it's also regarding social issues or the way you consume everything. So I think that it's a trend over the impact you can have while doing your event, which might be very important and considered.
Thank you. So what were your biggest insecurities when you started your first job?
I can start. I think the biggest insecurity, should I go? Yeah.
Yes.
I think the biggest insecurity was speaking out. So when I had an opinion or an idea, I think at first many of us are scared to give our opinion, and we just more like follow orders or follow what we're meant to do, right? I think it's important, and now I've learned that what will make you bigger, what will convince your boss about you is actually having this honest communication about what you think.
Yeah,
okay.
100%.
I totally agree. Yeah, it's true that at the beginning you're... sorry, Clémence.
No, go away.
Yeah, I totally agree with Veronika. It's true that at the beginning I had the same feeling that at the beginning you're a bit shy to tell your opinion and say what you think. But at the end, it's what matters. Like you have to have an opinion and don't be shy to talk about it. And then you're also a bit insecure about doing mistakes and you don't want to disappoint your first client. But at the end, it happens, you know, and it's how we learn. So this is part of the job.
No, I do agree. And also I think that something which is very important is that an event is never going to happen the way you plan. There is always something will make it even different.
Sure.
That's like something very obvious, and I also think that for now people like our generation because they say that we are proposition force, and when we are thinking outside the box and speaking out, well, people like, for example, in my company, that's what they loved about my profile, that I was seeing ideas and new ideas and yeah, speaking out. But yeah,
And
it has to be
and about
force.
what? Sorry,
Sure.
Clemence.
No, go away.
So about what you just said, actually, it can be complicated. And what are the biggest mistakes you made during your first experiences, and what did you learn from that?
Well, for my kids, a lot. I can even remember, like, that was something I was saying before, that basically you have to check every little details, and yeah, forgetting something that you considered that not important, but at the end, which is important. Yeah, for example, for a client, I did a mistake, and he asked me for an hotel for a seminary, and it said to me in Paris airport, and I was just arriving in Paris and didn't know that it has so many airports, so I just found the wrong airport. So that was, in fact, a huge mistake, but quickly we just took back a solution. I think that it's important that, yeah, you are going to do mistakes, a lot of mistakes, but you have to be reactive.
Yeah, you have to be able how to solve it at that specific time.
Yeah,
you have to be ready for it, actually, because they are going to happen. Unexpected things are always going to happen.
And resourceful.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You need to have a plan B.
Always.
Yeah.
And so they're asking me, what do you think that due to the current situation, it will be more difficult for us to enter in the market or not?
I think that, like, to be honest, I think you will find a job. Like, don't lose hope, but it's true that it would take more time, I think, now, because it's a terrible situation for our sector, and you just need to be maybe more patient. You will find something, but it might take more time. That's my opinion.
And also know what market you're going to. If you're applying for a job that produces festivals nowadays, it's going to be harder, of course.
Yeah, I think my advice is don't be as picky, because you can't afford to do that. For example, I arrived to Spain a few months ago. I came back after working abroad, and it was hard to find a job, right? Because all interviews were postponed because of COVID or canceled. So what did I do? I went into another hospitality, related industry. And I think that's also an option. So don't go desperate on it, and don't have a one view, right? Try to open yourself to different options, and then it won't be as bad.
And also, I think, well, regarding the French market, that people in France just love going out, as Spain, for example, and to go to restaurants. And I think that everyone during the lockdown missed the social bond. And in fact, I think that when the marketing is going to start over, I think for me in September, that it's going to start again in a very important way, because people actually missed it, and they will have to do some seminaries and congresses to talk about, for example, the budget, how to face the situation. And they will need, I think, to be honest, MICE events. Not maybe as much as important than before, and not as luxury, for example, but they will need some.
And what do you think about the new trend of online events? Do you think it's going to last in the time, or people will stay attached to the in-person events?
I think, sorry.
No, I was thinking, do you know what your clients are thinking about that?
Well, in my case specifically, I could say that the online events has been something that has worked in our favor for our company, because we're currently doing actually online events, and most of our events are based online. Getting to the clients are based online. So I think that it's going to be the new trend, because people are staying more time online, on the internet. People are doing more of this right now than actually going to the actual event. But not only right now because of COVID, but also because of the fact that the commodity of being in your house or being, you know. So I think it's a trend that is going to enlarge, and it's going to prosper a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do agree, but I also think that people actually during 2 months for the lockdown just really missed the social bonds. And I think, well, for my clients, they are not going to be like very fond of it. I think it's something very helpful. It's a trend that we have to dig into it. But I think that also, well, for my clients, they are going to stay about one-to-one and like physical events.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about it because there's also another strong trend, which will probably come back, which is leisure, right? Business with leisure. So lots of people, when an event is organized, part of, you know, the magic of going to the event is then learning about another culture, another country, really mixing tourism with events. So I'm not sure what will happen, can't predict it, but there will be probably more hybrid events without losing events that you can as well enjoy as leisure.
I do agree.
I have a question for you. So lots of my classmates are actually afraid to be stuck at the front desk or any other related hospitality sector. Did it happen to you? And how did you do to move to the job you are here, you are in today?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sorry, I will repeat the question. So my classmates are asking that they're afraid of being stuck to how to say, to a lower position, such as being at the front desk or any other related hospitality sector position. And they're asking you, how did you do, what leads you to where you are now in your company? For example, Elise, you told me you are taking care of the French market. Was it the first position you got, the first mission, or little by little you?
Exactly, yeah, little by little. I started with the lowest position. I started as a project executive, so it was the lowest position. And then years after years, I became a project manager and then manager of the DMC. It took me 3 years to be where I am now. Actually, I think, I mean, you can be lucky and have an opportunity to start directly with a high position, but actually right now you see a lot that if you check on LinkedIn, it's like 3 years experience or more. So I think you should be open-minded to start with lowest, with lowest like position, and be open-minded to start with interesting opportunities where you can get a lot of experience from, and maybe don't target directly the highest one.
I would even add that it's even better to start in a lower position, because once you get to the top, you know all the positions under, so you know what it entails to be in those positions. So I think it's always better to start at the bottom and prove yourself that you can do better, and that you can escalate, and that you can be in a better position. But it's always better to start from the bottom, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Thank you. For Marichel, I have some specific question directed to one speaker. So, for example, Marichel, they're asking, how did you get to work on the Comic-Con, for example?
I applied for the company is called Shift Gig. It's basically it's like a Job Today or I don't know any other Indeed type of app in the US, and that's how I applied to work over there, and they hired me. So but it was really fun. That's how I started getting the love for events, because it's also a type of job where you can have the worst day ever, that once you go to the event, once you're there, once you smile, once you're always being happy to the customers, at the end of the day, the problem that you had before starting the job, before starting that day, you're like, well, it wasn't that bad. So basically, the event industry not only has helped me professionally, but it has also helped me personally in overcoming many different things. So yeah, it was shit gig.
Good for you. I have a question for Clémence. You say the events won't start until September with your company. So what are you doing in the meantime to adjust your client needs?
Well, basically in the MICE industry, well, in Paris at least, during summer, it's like the low session of events. We do not have a lot to do. In fact, I'm basically doing a lot of work, like, you know, side work. For example, I was doing a kind of folder with all the providers we have, because with all the events we are doing, to give you an average, for example, during the year, I'm realizing almost 30 events per month. So we are trying to make a kind of report, to list all the providers we have to simplify our job during the year. So when they want to have a business lunch or breakfast, or I don't know, I just know in such neighborhoods, I just know by the postal code, like it's, just doing a list of all the customers. As I am at partial unemployment, I do not have a lot of information. It's kind of blurry right now. So I'm just keeping myself occupied with the foundation, and before September, I don't know if I will have any information regarding my company. So no, they don't have any needs. It's it's the reality. It's not for LinkedIn. You see a lot of people saying that you have to maintain the activity, but there is also the reality of the situation. And that, for example, in my company, we are more than 160 employees. We are losing more than 70,000 euros per day. It's kind of dramatic, the situation, but I mean, you just have to be patient and be ready and hungry for more events when you will come back.
Okay, thank you, Clémence. I have a question for you, Veronika. You mentioned that we should focus on smaller events because of the current situation, such as community events or other hot topic. Can you give us an example of this kind of event?
Yeah, so not necessarily smaller events, but the theme of the events, right? Probably the events that are going to be most sought after later are events, for example, of, you know, smaller events of human rights or veganism, or topics that people want to, they can be smaller events or bigger, but that they are a topic that people care about at the moment. This also comes up because, you know, now that we've all been in lockdown, people have had a lot of time to think about what's really important to them. Yeah. And that's why it has grown as a potential, you know, niche for the events.
Okay, thank you. Elise, you explained why you stayed in Spain. What are for you you explained also the biggest advantages of being in Spain. Can you tell us more about how great it is to build a career in Spain, and what are the other advantages?
Well, yes, as I told Luis, there is so many things that Spain can offer regarding the culture, the gastronomy, the infrastructure. So that's why people love to do event here, and they want to do event here. So that's why, I mean, I'm from Belgium, so it's a very small country, and we're doing event also, but not as much as Spain. So that's why I wanted to start my career here, because I knew that I had more possibilities to do event here, and different ones. You can do event in the north, in the south, MICE event, also a bit more leisure with incentive. So you have much more diversity. So that's why I wanted to stay here, because I knew that I would be maybe able to learn more, and this is what I love the most. So that's why I stayed here in Spain.
Okay, thank you very much, Elise, and thank you everyone for participating and taking the time to share with us your experiences and tips. And we are very happy to have you with us.
Thank you. You're welcome. It was a pleasure.
So So from the BNext team, and I thank you to all our speakers again, and thank you to all the attendees for being part of BNext 2020. I hope everyone enjoyed it and learned as much as I did. So just let's stay in touch on the social media, where you can find us by using those hashtag, the one you see on the screen. And just a small reminder that we have there will be another event on the 21st of May from noon to 1 p.m. about hybrid events, and it will be in Spanish. And that's it. So thank you very much for being with us. Remind us that we have the survey in the private chat, so you can find the link. And have a great evening. Stay safe and take care. Thank you.